A Whisker Away is the second feature film by Studio Colorado, the same studio that brought us Penguin Highway, which is a really good film. That movie was adapted from a novel series. This is an original film.
Yeah, this is an original story.
So,
and yeah, probably the best cat movie that we've got in the past few months. I mean,
that's what you.
How many? Yeah, how many? I think I don't know. I remember like the last good cat movie we watched was another anime movie, The Cat Returns.
Oh yeah, The Cat Returns. Yeah, The Cat Returns. So that was the one that was Miyazaki, right? No,
it was Ghibli.
I mean,
not Miyazaki.
You were thinking of Whisper of the Heart.
Oh,
yeah. Cat Returns was the pseudo, somewhat prequel spin-off to Whisper of the Heart. This was a
It just shows that if you're gonna make a movie about cats, make it animated.
Yeah.
Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Or I heard that they're going to make a live-action sequel to Whisper of the Heart coming out in September. It's probably going to suck, but I'm going to watch it. I'll give it a chance.
But anyway, so the movie A Whisker... What was it again?
A Whisker Away.
A Whisker Away. And this is about Mio, who known as Muge to her friends.
Which is an acronym for... What's an acronym for something?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, well, remember, is it for...
It's basically kind of like the Japanese equivalent to one of those... I don't know what they call it, but it's like ENFJ or something like that. But anyway, she is like a total, like, you know, upbeat personality.
Yeah, like super spastic, super she's all over the place, ADHD.
She's too quick. She's very quick to show her affection for Hinode.
Hinode, yeah.
Yeah, Hinode. And eventually, like, even to the point where she turns into a cat.
Yeah, she meets this really fat guy one time, covered in clothing, who to cover his face, and he's actually a cat, a mask salesman who sells her this mask that turns into a cat whenever she puts it on. Kind of reminds me of the Happy Mask salesman from Majora's Mask, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask.
Oh, really? Yeah, mixed with a bit of I mean, I've seen the Cats musical, so I'm just gonna call him Old Deuteronomy for the remainder of this video. But yeah, anyway, he's the one who gives Mio the power to turn into a cat by giving her this cat mask.
Yeah, and this movie was what I think was this is a very good first attempt at an original film by this studio. But I think it could have benefited from being either half an hour longer or be like maybe a 5 to 6 episode TV miniseries, because while I do like the characters, everything's extremely rushed. Now, that's not a bad thing. It's got a very upbeat, rushed attitude, but I feel like there's never a moment where you can just sit down and take in the atmosphere. For the first half hour is really good, but then afterwards, everything you have to rush as much exposition as possible to get to the main story, which is trying to. When the main character risks being permanently stuck as a cat, not able to turn back into a human, and then they have to go on this adventure to this place to find the mask salesman so that he can undo the spell that permanently transformed her into a cat. So
and and one of the fun parts, actually, I remember in the beginning they teased the end of the film, because at the end, and spoilers by the way, they do end up heading to this place where I mean cats.
Yeah, like here's the thing. There's this magical place that only cats can see, and there's one guy who can't see it, but then at the end they give him a mask and he gets the power to see what all these cats can see. There's this mythical worlds. I feel like kind of reminded me of Castle in the Sky, where the first half of the movie is trying to get there. Here, it's like the first 3/4 is setting up this place, and the last quarter is being there. I really thought it would have benefited, like I said, for half an hour longer, and we have to explore more of this magical place. And the whole point of the climax of the movie is getting there, and they finally get there. They're only there for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, one thing they do explore is the other humans who end up becoming cats.
Yeah.
There's like a human cat bar.
Yeah, that's really funny.
Where Mio as a cat ends up in, and they discuss all discuss what they did as a human and what they kind of regret. And yeah, there's this one cat who used to be a woman, and who abandoned her children. And
she thought she was a bad mother.
Yeah, that's, and I mean, it's crazy how it's crazy, like the millions of the millions of cats, like everywhere, like and the ones that are humans, like they saw it in a different perspective, and now seeing it as a cat, they do kind of regret giving up that humanity.
Yeah, but that's like briefly brushed over for like 2 minutes, and when they talk about it for 2 minutes, like I said, I feel like if the movie was like I feel like this movie was made by three different writers, main writers. Like the first 35 minutes was really good establishing the characters and all this stuff. I really liked it a lot. The next half hour or next 40 minutes or whatever is I don't remember the next 40 minutes was, but the last 40 minutes, like I said, they have to go to this place and find the masked salesman so that they can reverse the spell.
Speaking of which, there is one character who was never at the forefront, but I think it sets up this weird plot twist when Mio ends up just decides to become a cat forever. Someone takes Mio's face and becomes Mio.
So, one of the cats that's the cat that her stepmother owned, because Mio's mother's divorced. So she has a stepmother. Her stepmother's favorite cat becomes her, and it's really fun. I feel like they could have done more of that dynamic. Like first you set her up like she's gonna be this person wants to take over her life. I feel the movie would have taken a better turn if the movie had been about trying to trick her, make her the main bad guy, make the mask salesman like a secondary bad guy, and make the cat the main bad guy, and then at the end they try and trick her into giving her back her humanity. Here, it's just like, I was a human for 1 whole day or 2 whole days, and all of a sudden I want to go back to being a cat because my owner misses me. I feel like
I kind of think that the cat that takes Mio's mask, mask, and then her body, I think she was more. I think she had the idea of maybe staying on as Mio to comfort the stepmother, because obviously as a cat her lifespan was too.
She's already 12 years old. She probably have like 6 to 8 years left.
But
the reason she wanted to be like a human was so she could live longer. That's the cat. The mask salesman also wants to steal her life force. And
again, I think her character, although very briefly elaborated on in like the third act, I think the character was. I think they were fine, dealing with the character being a little bit regretful, and eventually being convinced that, that she should be a cat. I mean, the stepmother really cares about the cat very much.
Yeah, and
like almost as much as Mio.
One thing I really liked in the first third of the movie was when Mio, as a cat, is watching her mother and her stepmother arguing over her going lost, and you get to see it because she's having some difficulties adjusting to life with her stepmother. After she goes missing for a few days, her stepmother comes back and berates her, and that was a really interesting thing. But we never see her mother again after that scene. We only see her stepmother and her. I'm like, did they forget her mother even existed? I'm like, you bring her in for this one scene to make her argue with her stepmother, and then you never see her ever again. It's like,
I mean, a lot of it came from the idea that Mio, that everything has to be centered around Mio, and obviously she ends up having to chase this old Deuteronomy cat into Cat Island, and and then everyone else kind of follows her. Well, her
Yeah. Another thing that I like, I think it was in the first half of the movie, was her friend. Her friend is a girl. You don't get to see much of her, but in this flashback when she's a little kid, you see how she tried to be nice to her when all her other friends are picking on her for some reason. I forgot what it was.
I kind of had like.
I feel like
I felt like there were a couple of details that they could have gotten
expanded
better
on
with, especially the friendship between Mio and her friend Yori.
Yuri or Yori?
I think they called her. I think her full name was Yuriko.
Yuriko,
but and as well as, and they do go into Hinome's family life as well.
Her name was Yuriko Fukase.
Yeah, and there is flashbacks of like Hio and Hirome, how they become friends and what keeps them together as friends.
Yeah, and like I said, the first like 2/3 of the movie was really fun.
Yeah,
and you get to see everything from also not only from her perspective. You get to see things from the guy's perspective. His name was
Hinome.
The guy's name.
Yeah, that's Hinome.
Hinome, you sure?
Yeah.
It was
Hinode.
Hinode, yeah. So what's interesting was like in the first third of the movie, you hear him saying that his parents don't have enough money to keep their art studio going because he wants to become a potter or an artist or a sculptor or whatever. And then at the very end of the movie, he's like, I want to become a sculptor. Like, okay. I'm like, okay, so where does the money come from? How are you going to keep the studio? You just got through establishing you don't have enough money to keep the studio active. And at the very end, like, oh, we're going to keep it active because you want to support your dreams. I'm like, okay, where the money come from? Like, I don't know. A lot of things, a lot of like smaller plot.
Overall,
I mean, it's a fantasy adventure movie. Of course, the main focus is gonna be on the fantasy adventure aspect. But I think, like I said, if they just really like hammered out some of the other like more grounded aspects of the film, it could have been a lot more interesting.
But overall, I feel like this movie is I mean Japanese animation like overall. Well, Japanese cinema overall kind of gets like teenagers better than American cinema.
Yeah.
And I think this movie is an example because they do show like how peppy Mio is, but her life is like she's hesitating to talk with her parents, and so is Hinode to his mother and the rest of his family, because he and with Mio as the cat, Hinode is able to speak his feelings the way he can't with his family, and I think that works because it's kind of what usually happens when with teenagers, they need some outlet.
Yeah. So I was there. Oh yeah. There's the. I'm trying to think. Was there anything we're missing? I mean, this was a pretty simple movie.
Yeah,
but
it was.
Like I said, this was the second feature film and the first feature film by the studio to be an original film. I feel like this maybe they were trying to like make this into a franchise.
I don't think so.
I mean, this was their first. I mean, I love Penguin High. Penguin High was in my opinion a much better film. That was an amazing film.
I felt like Penguin Highway was more willing to dive into the more fantastical route than A Whisker Away.
Yeah. Plus, it was based on the manga, so they had to have the original mangaka's approval for any changes they made. I never read the original manga, but I'm sure that he must have been very strict about it or very involved in it. Here when they have their original movie, they can do whatever they want.
I think they wanted to. Yeah. I think they wanted to make it much less.
I don't hate this movie. I think it's a good movie, especially the first 2/3.
I think they wanted to make it a much simpler movie.
Yeah.
And they were working on like the premise is, of course, someone turns into a cat.
Yeah.
And you can, and I think they ended up making it such a. I mean, again, it's simple, but like again, the animation is good. The story you can do you can do like a good amount before you dive deep into like weird mode, which they do in the third act.
Yeah, like I said, the first act is very good establishing all the characters and their personalities. Very good. The second act is very playful and lighthearted, and you get to enjoy a lot of it. But the third act is in my opinion, a total rush job. So
yeah, totally. It feels like a Disney movie,
Yeah.
like a very old Disney movie that eventually, it has to explain where all this supernatural moments come from. And for what it was worth and what kind of story they were doing, I think they did a pretty good job.
Yeah, they did. So is there anything else you okay? Oh, they're the studio. It's called Studio Colorado. They have one more movie coming to Netflix. This was originally going to be
another one.
Yeah, this year. So this movie was supposed to go in theaters, but because of the coronavirus, of course, it couldn't. So and the English voice cast they haven't recorded yet. They will hopefully. The next film by the studio is going to be called Studio Colorado. Is going to be called.
That's with an I.
Burn the Witch.
Oh,
it's a Japanese. It's based on a manga series by this guy Tite Kubo, who did what else did he? Oh, he did Bleach. Nice. It's based on a manga series by the guy who did Bleach.
Yeah, and I do want to see more from the studio. They are up and coming, and again, this is only 2 movies in the bag, and
plus a 30-minute short film they made a while ago was the second feature film.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been getting into the individual workers, like other works, so definitely check this one out. Check any of the stuff that they have done so far.
It says it's based in the Bleach universe, so it's taking place in the.
Well, that's cool.
You ever watch Bleach?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. Also they did Typhoon Narada, which is a 30-minute short film, and some other films are Shashinkan and Hinata no Ashiguri.
I know this was very short, but we're coming back with this, and this is on Netflix, so if you have a subscription, definitely check this one out.
Yeah.